Ciao ragazzi, hi everybody. Ciao Luca, ciao Alessandro. This session is in English, so please write and speak in English, Italian English, of course, with a lot of mistakes, but this session is dedicated to our friends out of Italy. Hello, boys. So we wait 7 minutes before to start. If you have some questions, you are welcome to put your question in the chat, and I will try to answer. Thank you very much. In the meantime, I play something. Okay. Okay, thank you. Welcome, my friends, in my live stream. Marco Fantoni in my studio. The name is Soundbox. Is an old name. Welcome to everybody. This section is in English. So let's start. 1 minute to 10, but we can start. So there are a lot of Italian friends, so please put your question in English or in Italian and try to translate with my English. Sorry for this. I'm not so good to speak in English, but I hope you will understand. So this is a discussion about, as the title, how to choose the digital system, digital modeler, profiler, plugins, and so on. It is an open discussion, so feel free to put your questions. I will try to answer to your question, to give you some suggestions, to share my experience with you. And I'm using now the Fractal XFX3. You can see the editor here, because it's easy for me to explain some concept I wanted to transfer you with this editor. Is really complete and it's really easy to understand. So if you have some questions, please put in the chat. So there are some people just here. Ciao Leo, ciao Gianni, Alessandro. A lot of Italians user, but okay, let me go to the center. Sorry, okay, I wanted to orientate better. Okay, so stainless steel. Will you play Kemper? If you want, I can play Kemper. Doesn't matter. It's not a problem. I have also the editor here. It's not a problem. I can plug off and plug in the Kemper. It's not a problem. We can discuss with the old system. Here I have Kemper, Helix, Fractal, and also I wanted to speak about my amplifier, my old amplifier there, tube valve, and it is important to start to speak with the amp, because first of all, I discovered that in the digital system there are many people that have some problems to understand some concept, but concept that comes from the traditional systems, not from the digital. So I continue to say that digital and analog are absolutely, let's say, the same. The concept are the same. Is like the photography. Doesn't matter if we speak about analog photography or digital photography. The light is light. For the technical is different. The technical issues are different, but the light is light for all environment. So some concepts are really important to understand, even in the analog system and also for the digital system. If you don't understand what is some concept in the analog makes no sense to speak in the digital world, because the concepts are absolutely the same, as I wanted to demonstrate with the editor I have here. Okay, let me check if you have some questions. Okay. Luca, yesterday about Fractal X8, use a new word. Do you think the best way to use it with an active speaker? Also, okay, very good questions. Very good questions. I wanted to discuss. It's a long discussion. I take some minutes to discuss about this. What is better to use with a digital system? FR system or amplifier? So let me explain in this editor what is the rig. Okay, The rig is an old system that are composed by the guitar, effects, before the amp, the cabinet, the microphone also, and also effects again, ambience effects typically. So this is the rig. And doesn't matter if we, as I told you before, doesn't matter if we are in the digital or are in the analog world. The concepts are absolutely the same. What is really important to understand is the core of the system, so the amp and the cabinet. Because in the digital modeler, cabinet is not only the cabinet, is the cabinet plus this one. It's really important. You have to understand this. So please take care about the cabinet. This output of the cabinet is equal to the output of the XLR output of the microphone. You have to understand this, otherwise it's really difficult to find the proper sounds of your digital device. Doesn't matter if we speak about Kemper, Fractal, Helix, Ampero, Headrush, more. You have to understand this. So, if this point and this common point, if I can take the editor of Kemper, for example, let me switch on, because the concept is the same. Even Kemper is a completely different system. We will speak about this later on. Let me check what is the rig manager. Rig manager is here. Okay. Okay. Okay, this is the editor of the Kemper. The rig is fixed. It's not as complex like in the XFX editor, of course, but the concept is the same. The output of the cabinet is absolutely this one. Okay. So if you want to use this output, you have to go to the FR system, not in the amp. I hope this is clear. If it's not clear, please put your question regarding this. So when you play a guitar and on the stage, on the studio, on everywhere, usually you put your microphone in a PA, in a mixer. Mixer and PA is a FR system. So for these reasons, if you want to use the complete digital system and you want to have the best advantages of the digital system world, you should use the FR system. Why? Because in the modeling there is the amp section and amp stage and also the cabinet stage, and the cabinet is really important. Sometimes I see in the analog world that some people doesn't take care about the cabinets. They buy a really expensive amplifier, but they don't care. They don't take care about the cabinet, and this is really strange, because the cabinet is responsible of the most of the sound of your systems. So it's completely different to have a cabinet with a vintage 30 speakers, or Greenback 25, or Eminence speakers, and so on. These cabinets gives a very strong characters of your sound. It is really important to choose the cabinets in the proper way, and not only the cabinets, because as I told you, in the digital modeler, the cabinet is not alone, but there is also the microphone, and there is a big difference if you use different microphone. This is a classic SM57, but you can use a Sennheiser E601 or ribbon microphone like a Royer 121, and so on. And all microphones have different response and a different voice. This is really important. So when you work with the digital system, okay, if you want to use the amplifier, because many people use the digital system with amplifier, in that case it is necessary two things. First of all, you have to switch off the cabinet. Here you have to switch off, cabinet off, as you can see here, or in the axis fix you have to switch off the cabinets. So the cabinet now is off, and this output is the output of, let's say, we can is not correctly under 100%, but is like you have the send of your amplifier. So if this is the send output, okay, you have to enter in the return of your amplifier. So if you want to use your amp and you want to use the modeling of the digital device, you have to connect your device to the return of the amp. So you have to skip the preamp section of your amp, first of all. What is the problem? Is the cabinet of your amp is responsible of the most of the part of the sound, the total sound of your system. But if you like that, it's okay. But if you use, for example, if you have a cabinet 4x12 Marshall with vintage 30 or Greenback, whatever, and okay, if you put a Marshall model, is not a problem. Any kind of high gain amp is not a problem. But if you have a Fender Twin, for example, or a small Fender Tweed Blues Junior, or something like this small amp, you have for sure you have not the same sound, because the sounds go out from the big cabinet. In the real model, the cabinet is smaller and has a completely different voice. This is the limitation of the amp. And of course, you have to put the mic in front of the cabinet, and you say lose some advantages of the digital modeler, where you can connect directly the digital modeler to the PA. Some people a lot of people prefers to work with real cabinets on stage and go with the modeling. So the cabinet is on, but they connect the amplifier in this section, okay, just after the amp, and go to the PA with the cabinet. In that case, is possible. Many people do this, but of course you have to use the same cabinet modeling, the same cabinet impulse response. Otherwise, you have a different sound on stage and on the PA. I hope this concept is clear. So I speak a lot, I check your questions, and I try to answer you. So I start from the last, sorry, because there are a lot of questions here. Hi guys, does anyone know the feasibility output of Focusrite onto the Boss Katana slave mod? Okay, these are different questions. Digital chain, if you put the modulation sound between the amp and cabinet, is like using the effect loop. Yes, interesting. The question comes from Tauron Val. You can put the modulation effects here. Is not okay. As I told you before, what is between the amp and the cabinet, we can compare with the send and return of your amp. It's not just the same, but okay, you can compare one by one. What you can do in the digital modeler is the same situation of the studio. In the studio, you can have the effects you can put before the preamp section, just like compressor, volume, wah, phaser, drives, and modulations, tremolo, and so on. Usually, those effects are put on the. It's the same as in the analog world, the same. But usually in the studio, you put the ambient effects, delay, reverbs, chorus could be ambient or modulation, depends how do you consider the chorus effect. But usually those effects are put after the microphone, because you put the microphone on the cabinets, go to the mixer, and to the mixer you add the reverb, delays, and so on. So the situation is exactly the same. You can also you can also put the cabinet at the end, as you do in the analog world. The problem is the cabinet has to have a stereo effects. Otherwise, you use these effects like a stereo image, and you put stereo image left and right into a mono block. This is the typical problem. Or you have a stereo block, or you lose the stereo effect. So I suggest you to do the same situation that you find in the studio, where you have the cabinets, okay, the output of the microphone. You go to the mixer, and you can put every kind of ambience effects, reverb, delay, and so on. My suggestion is this. Different discussion is when you have amplifier, because when you have amplifier, you have in the different situation, the cabinet has to put in the last block, and the effects usually are in the middle, like the send return. What effects has to be in the send return is the same concept of the analog, doesn't change. So don't put the drive in the send return, for example, or delay before the preamp. So the rules are absolutely the same. Okay. Andre, do third-party IR really make a difference in terms of sound quality? Absolutely yes, Andre, because it is the same, as I told you before. It is the same discussion in the real world. The cabinets, in my opinion, is responsible of most of the part of your sounds. You have to choose the right cabinet that match with your amplifier to have and to get the best sound. Sometimes people doesn't take care about this. Oh, you can select any kind of 4x12 is the same. It's not absolutely the same. It's completely different. And we know, and we select the cabinet in the manner to have the voice that we have. Greenback for a vintage sound, for example, or vintage 30 if you have modern sound, or eminence. So it is the selection of the cabinet is much important as the selection of the amp. And what we don't take care so much is the microphone. And I suggest to everybody to try to amplify your and to record your sound with the different microphone, to make some experience. Not only the microphone, and also the position of the microphone on the speaker, because most of you knows that in the center the microphone has a sound. If you go out from the center, okay, to the border, the sound changes dramatically. So there are many thousand variables that gives your sounds in the chain. So the impulse response are the same, because the impulse response are a photo of the cabinet plus the microphone, but which microphone and in which positions, okay? So you have to select the proper IR that you like. It is a matter of your personal taste, of course, to and you have many different impulse response with the same microphone and the same cabinet, but in a different position. So you can listen the difference, you can hear the difference between the different position, and you have to select the proper one. So, and of course, there are several IR builder, and of course the selection of the manufacturer of the impulse response is really important, because every IR builder has different voice, different taste to create the impulse response, of course. Well, I hope to be clear. If no, please ask me again. Rigona Bomba, Ivo, ciao. Marco, last week I played my atomic amplifier, very good system, not very known in Italy. Yes, it's not really known. In Italy we have a lot of, we have several companies that makes FR system, let's say, but we know atomic amplifier. Sorry, atomic is not an FR system, sorry, I make a confusion. But okay, atomic is well known. Is the amplifier box is well known. The other model are not so famous, but okay, we know. Very good system, not very known in Italy. Combo Marshall GCM 2000 DSL for tube amps, real and clean channel, fantastic sound. I have some doubt. I have some doubt. Which doubt? Please tell me. From which slot in order between cabinet and or IR would it to be preferable to start with the equalization for the modification of the first guitar sound on digital system? About the equalization, you can see here, this is my equalization, practically absolutely flat. This is my method, of course, but everybody can choose any method. Usually I prefer to start with an amp and select the proper IR in a list, and you have to be familiar with the impulse response to know which is the bright, which is the dark, which is the middle. It is a matter of experience, the personal experience. But usually I prefer to match the proper impulse response with the cabinet. And only at the end, if there is something to correct, I work with the equalization. But usually I don't use the global EQ. And usually 99% of my preset has no global EQ. Okay. I'm interested in knowing more deeply the hot tone Ampero by Joan Andrea Rodriguez. I did some different video regarding hot tone Ampero. Hot tone Ampero is let's say an entry-level system, of course. What is the difference between a fractal and Ampero? Because some of the most common questions that people gives me is what is the difference between this and that? Nothing else. I'm really surprised, but because it's like that you ask, is better pasta or pizza? Is better a expensive restaurant or cheap one? If you give a questions to me, for example, you have to tell me what is your need, because if your need is based on the budget, on the genre, the musical genre, you play rock, you play country, you play pop, funk, your budget is $300. Okay, so there are several questions, several argue to discuss and to put on the table before to make the proper choice. It makes no sense to ask, is better this and that? Better means nothing in this case, because it's like to compare Ferrari with Volkswagen Polo. Completely different. They have four wheels, but they are cars, of course, but it's completely different. What is your needs? please tell me what is your needs, what your genre, what is your budget, what is your guitar, what is your taste, what is your guitar hero. You like David Gilmour, you like Van Halen, you like Gary Moore, and so on. So I can understand, and you can understand yourself what is the best solution for you. So Ampero could be a very good choice because the ratio between the quality and the price of Ampero is the same of the Fractal. So in the digital system, the digital world, the ratio, most of the cases, the ratio between the quality and the price are in the same level. Okay, so if you spend $300, you have a system for $300. If you spend $2,000, like Fractal, you have a system for $2,000. But this doesn't mean that everybody needs Fractal. Maybe Ampere is the proper system for you, especially if you are the newbie, if you're the beginner, because if you are the beginner, you cannot get all advantages of a system, a complex system like Fractal that give you tons of opportunity. But if you know what you want to get from Fractal, if you don't know, you have let's say a black box and that's it. You can only scan the factory preset. They are fantastic, absolutely. Fractal for me is the only one who have the best factory presets, and this is the problem. If you Helix, for example, has a big problem on the factory preset. If you decide to test Helix and you list the factory preset, they are really bad for me. For example, when I started with the Helix, for example, when I listened the first of preset, I put on the box and return back. I decided to erase all preset and start again, to put an amp, a cabinet, and to put the same blocks as I do in the real world, and I start to get a very good sound. Okay, but first of all, if you are a beginner, if you have not idea what is the system, what is your needs, and so on, it's preferable to start with a small system. There are a lot of systems that can match your needs. Ampero, more are entry-level system. Headrush Gigboard, Headrush, Helix LT, Helix Floor, and so on. There are a lot of systems, but what is really important for me is the ratio between quality and price is practically in the same level, and you can get good sounds from every. If you know your system, you can get the best sound from every system. If you don't know your system, doesn't matter if you have Fractal, Kemper, and so on, you don't get any good sound. This is really important. So a big recommendation, as usually as also the typical word RTFM, read the fucking manual. Okay, I have to translate in English. It is really important. Read the manual and please use the web, Google, YouTube. You can find 10,000 tutorials with every systems. You can forum, web page, my website, for example. Of course, my YouTube channel, and don't forget to subscribe my YouTube channel and click on the bell to receive the notification. Okay, Riccardo, holy words. I hope. Thank you very much, Riccardo. Hi Marco, can you talk about using the high cut and the low cut for live gigs, especially to Helix patches? Yes, of course. Pizza or pasta, top both. Yes, pizza pasta is different to. In Italy, one day we eat pizza and one day we eat pasta. Okay, let's discuss about the frequency. This is a very important argue and a very important tip that I can give you. And I go to the cabinet. Okay, the Fractal is a complex, a lot of parameters, but in Helix we have the low cut and high cut. Low cut and high cut you can find in almost every system. What is really important? The important thing is the low cut. Low cut lets you to cut. It is the low cut is an high pass filter, so only the high frequency, starting from the settings frequency, is passed 1 to 1. The other the lower frequency are attenuated. So this is really important because some guitar player like to have a really fat and bottom sound, really big, but that sound usually when you go to the PA and the sound engineering, put a high pass filter, so make the low cut, let's say it is the same, to avoid that the guitar sounds in the range where the guitar should not sound. In the range between 0 to 100, 120 hertz, there are the bass, the drum, the kick of the drum. Okay, there are some. The guitar plays between, let's say, 150, 200 hertz to usually, let's say, 8,000 hertz. This is the range of the frequency of the guitar. So please put yourself, even if you don't feel, you don't hear any bass frequency, put in any case the low cut at 100, 110, 120 hertz to avoid that the sound of the guitar. Because if you have a, let's say, cheap monitor, so there is also a question which monitor are the best. So we will discuss about this. If you have cheap monitor, you cannot hear the bass frequency. There are the bass frequency, but you cannot hear because the system cannot reproduce correctly that bass. And when you go to on the stage and there is a big PA with a big sub, that sound explode. The sound becomes rumble and too much basses. Usually the sound engineer put the high pass filter. So to prevent this, I suggest you to set this parameter to 100, 120. Okay, first of all, the high cut, it is let's say to avoid the fizzy sound. Okay, because the guitar usually is not good when there are too much high frequency. Okay, when there are too much high frequency, the guitarist says that the sound is fizzy, or it is a digital sound. There is some confusion about this. So I suggest to put this value to 7,000-8,000 hertz to prevent the high frequency, but don't put so much lower because in the mix, okay, to have the best sound in the mix, because the guitars usually think about the sound of the only of the speaker. That some people doesn't take care about his sound in the mix of the band. So when you are in the mix, the situation is different, and the sound engineering make the equalization to put the guitar sounds in the proper position in the mix between the bass, the drum, the keyboards, the singer, and so on. If you go to the YouTube and try to search the isolated track from some famous guitar solo or guitar player and listen the sounds of that guitar, you will discover that the sound of that guitar is, it seems thinny, it's small, But when this sound is in the mix, we can recognize the famous sound. Why this? Because usually we think that the guitar has to have the very bass frequency and the sound that we can hear from the cabinets. But what we hear from the cabinet is not the real sound. Why? I show you. Let me. I'm here usually with my guitar. Okay. That is the cabinet. And you should know, it's a really simple experiment. If you play here, you have a perception of the sound. If you play here, you have a totally different perception. So the real sound of your amplifier, only your knees can hear the proper sound. What you can hear is a sound that where there are big basses and also the high frequencies are really cut, because the high frequency loses its force when you are out of the axis of the speaker. So here it's completely different than here. So you can try yourself. It's really easy. So you can imagine what's happened on the microphone. The microphone is put here just in front of the speaker. So you can understand how many high frequency the microphone can capture. When the guitarist is here and doesn't listen and doesn't hear the high frequency, rise up the treble. Okay, what's happened? That here the high frequencies are good, but here is impossible to listen. So the sound engineer has to cut the high frequency. It is let's say really strange behavior between, and it's a fight between the guitarist and the sound engineer. So try to create your sound and record your sound with the microphone to understand what is the real sound. When you are in the mix, of course, so you have a lot of high frequency. Of course, you can reduce these frequencies with the high cut, but remember that the high frequencies are absolutely necessary to be in the proper position on the mix. So don't reduce too much the high frequency, otherwise you disappear in the mix. I prefer to have a little bit the sound a little bit fizzy, okay? Because when you play with the band, that high frequencies are covered by the different with the cymbals, with the keyboards and so on. But the guitar you can hear very very good. And for this reason, try to listen the isolated track. You discover that most of the famous isolated track are really in a high frequency. How can you do this? Really simple. Let me try to show you. Go to YouTube. Okay. Type isolated track. Look at her, for example, or slash guitar track of Welcome to the Jungle slash. Okay, you can hear how is the sound. Practically there is no basses, and there is a lot of middle and high frequency. But if you have to consider the complete mix, this sound is perfect. So we have to start as all guitar player should start with the digital system to think like the sound engineer, not only with the guitarist, and to create your sound like you are in a band and in in a disco, in a record, and your guitar has to be in the record in the same way that the record itself. I make you, sorry, it's different to explain, sorry. Usually when I create my sound, I like so much Steve Lukather, and I have a THU tribute. When I create the sound of Steve Lukather, I put on the I play a THU song, and I try to sound over this song, and I record both the original song with my guitar. After the recording, I listen again, and I wanted to listen my guitar in the mix, completely in the mix of the original song. It's not completely different. Has to be in the mix. When I reach that, I am pretty sure that my sound is really good for to be in a band, in a mix of the band. So this is my method. Of course, you can find your method, but I tell you my method. I can make an example later on for this. But usually I create my sound over the sound of my favorite guitar player, Steve Lukather, for example, and record it together with the track that I want. It is really good to be close to, as you in English you say nailed the sound of the guitar player. But it's not only a matter of to replicate the sound of that or this or that guitar player, but it's a method to understand what is the sound you have to get to be in the mix. Okay, I hope this is clear. It's not easy for me to explain this, but I hope that you understand in a proper way. Otherwise, feel free to put your question. Okay. Simone, AXFX is also a good quality audio card. Absolutely, yes. AXFX 3 has 4 analog input and 4 analog output. Is a very good audio card you can use as it is a workstation. Let me check other questions. Which model has the best about the boxes preset? The best. Christian, which model has best out of the box preset? As I told you before, Fractal has a very good factory preset. For example, for me is the only one who have a very good preset. I suggest to never listen to preset from any modeler. Fabio. I don't understand this question, sorry. Okay, you mean that okay, usually the factory presets are not so very good. Is when you want to choose your system, I suggest you to get information from the web. Go to YouTube and type the name of different modeler and listen what you can give. My YouTube channel, for example, there are some system, but on the web and on YouTube you can find a really very huge amount of sample that you can listen. For sure, it's true that when you try yourself the modeler, the factory preset are most of the case are really bad. This is true. Okay, how important you say stereo effects are with the model? Let's say, okay, question from Ocean Ott. Okay, I hope the pronunciation is good. How important you to say stereo effects are with modelers? Let's say I've got 2 guitarists and one HX stomp using 2 parallel input with mono signal and only amp modeling and pedal board. For which one? Or stereo, or of course stereo is better of mono, of course, for the ambient effects, especially because you can use a huge amount of ambient effects without disturb the original, the direct sound, let's say. When you use mono, sounds is in any case the 90% of the analog guitar play in a mono, and the stereo effect is done in the studio or on the PA. But okay, you have to take care of only one thing, so that the ambient effects, reverb and delay, you have not to exceed with the mix of this effect. Otherwise, the sound becomes muddy. Too much effect doesn't help to be in the mix and to make a very clear sound. You have to take care. With the stereo effect, it's better because you have a stereo image, and usually the direct sound is in the middle. Okay, I can show you immediately. So now you are listening the live streaming in stereo, and I can play some stereo effects. Okay, I switch off the microphone, otherwise there is a feedback. Okay, this preset use a lot, as you can see here. You can see a lot of delays. There is a plexi verb, plexi delays. There are a huge amount of ambience effects. I can use these effects only because I am in stereo. If I am in mono, I cannot use this huge amount because the sounds becomes impossible to listen. Absolutely, this is a big difference. Okay, but of course it depends of your genre. If you make funk, for example, okay, you don't need a stereo effect. Okay, this is not the correct sounds to make AC/DC, but if you play rock, vintage rock, you don't need a stereo effect, for example. This for sure. So let's depend of your music genre, of course. Okay. What? Let me check your question. Some question that I skipped. Sorry, I come back. I don't want to speak the other questions. Che scheda audio, Marco? I am connected with the element THU element 46 audio card. The Fractal or Kemper or every system is connected to the audio card simply. And what you are listening now is the digital sounds of your monitors. Because some people ask me, what is your monitor system? Okay, I'm using. I try to show you what is my. Okay. Oh, this one is the EVE is the near field monitor, and this is the sorry, I switch off the. Okay, that are my main monitor. Is the red sound monitor, is Italian made monitors, 8-inch woofer. Okay, now I'm using this monitor, but you are not listen the sounds from that monitors. You are listening the sound from your monitor. This has to be absolutely clear, because many people ask me, what is your monitor now? But and I ask by myself, why these questions? Okay, if you want to ask me what are my monitor, yes, I can tell you, but doesn't influence the sound you are listening now from your monitor. Okay, I hope this is clear. Okay. Let me check. Thanks a lot for that explanation. You're welcome. Ocean, what do you deal in high resonance frequency on the spectrum? Davide, what do you mean with the high resonance frequency in the spectrum instead? Usually, I, as I told you, I don't want to go in deeper and to deal so much with the EQ. I try to use different impulse response. Okay, this, and I select. We have two in the Fractal. There are 2048 impulse response available, but you can buy the impulse response everywhere. And I prefer to find the proper impulse response instead to deal too much on the equalization usually. Okay, what do Arcanum? Could you tell about the cab simulation in the Headrush? How do you feel about it compared to the third-party IS? What do you think about the speaker breakup parameter and the other Headrush cabinet? Usually, because I know very well my impulse response, I use an impulse response from Valhalla IR.at. I know very well the behavior of that impulse response. It's the same that you know the behavior of your cabinet. So when I want to get that sound, I know if I want to use the orange cabinets or Marshall cabinets with that on this microphone and so on. Usually the factory cab are not good for me. In Headrush, in Helix, they works, but I prefer to use impulse response. The only system now that works very good with the stock cabinet, with a simulated cabinet, is the Ampero. Ampero is incredible because it has a really good cabinet simulation. It is amazing. There are a possibility to change the cabinets, the size, the topology, 2x12, 4x12, and so on. The microphone, the positions, and also the distance. But it works very realistic. Sometimes better than then the inputs respond. It is the only one, to be honest. Gabriele Pafumi, in Ottone Ampero, how can I cut the high and the low frequency? You can't. You can't directly into the IR. You can do the same that you do with Kemper, and I show you, for example, the Kemper editor. Okay, and I can use Kemper to balance the situation. Otherwise, you say, you use only the Fractal. Okay, Fractal is my preferred. If many of you ask me what is my favorite, and I tell you my favorite is, for me, of course, is Fractal, because Fractal let me to create every kind of rig I want. Okay, Kemper is completely different. You have to understand this. Is not a modeler, is a profiler. Kemper makes a picture, it makes a photo of your amp, because okay, when you have the amp here, the tone stack is not the real tone stack that, as we think in the amp. It's like you record your guitar, and you put you tweak the equalization in the post-production. It's not the typical tone stack. Okay, you have to understand this, because, and if you make the profile of the Kemper with a certain situation of the cabinet, and if you want the boost, you have to make a new profile with the boost activated, with the bright activated, with a different regulation, with different gain. So it's completely different. In the modeler, okay, I show you again, sorry. In the modeler, on the amp, you have the tone stack exactly you have in the real world. You have the bright switch, you have the, for example, the boost, the cut, and the effect, exactly like, because it's a model, it's a physical model of the amp. It is completely different. Kemper is a picture, is a photo of the amp in that moment, with that settings, okay, with that cab, with that microphone in that position. If you want to change the microphone, you have to make a new profile. This is the reason that why you have lot. I make you an example. For example, this is the profile of a TB puncher. It is a custom. Amp made in Italy. It's a 3-channel cable, high gain amp. I make several profile, 49, because every profile is, for example, the lead. With this lead, I hope you. Oh no, sorry, you don't see. Sorry, again. Okay. This is the profile. Okay, you have several profile of the same amp, because I have the lead with the microphone E601, for example. I have the same with the, for example, let me check. Doesn't change. Okay, the VR1, it is a ribbon microphone example. This is the E09 again. Okay, that I forgot to change, but okay, for example, let me check. No, it is the same. Okay, for example, this is made with the sum of E609 plus the VR1. So there are different. I take lot of same profile from the amp, because it's completely different. In the model, you can change what you want. In the profiler, you have to change the profiler. So I can demonstrate you this profile, for example. Okay, switch off the microphone. Oh. Okay, so why there are so many profiles? Because you have to take the photo, okay, the image of any position, any settings of your amp. Otherwise, I cannot have the boost or bright in a different position. The lead channel, crunch in the modern style, the vintage style, and so on. This amp, for example, has a lot of switches, and so I have to take all position of the setting with all microphone and all combination. This is completely different. Okay. Hi Marco, can I ask, when you're playing live, you must use your modulus, or do you still use amps? I have seen live video where you are using modulus. Do you use a fare in ears, or both things? Nick from Nick. Hi Nick. Since 2016 I use only modular. I started with Helix, I use also Kemper, and now I'm using Fractal FX3 or X8. And usually I use my FR speaker. It is a speaker that I've developed by Red Sound. I show you some marketing advertising, of course, but it's necessary. Made in Italy. Okay, this is the cabinet. You can also see the picture video about this cabinet. This is a FR system. It is a special design for the modulus. Why? Because this FR system is shaped and made to have to give the feeling of the guitar cabinet. Even if it's a FR system, you can use the MP3 player, you can listen your music, you can use with acoustic guitar, of course, but the technology of the speaker is the coaxial speaker, so the drive is in a coaxial in the center of the woofer. It is a 10 inches, not 12 inch. Don't forget that is completely different to speak about a guitar speaker. Usually guitar speaker has 12 inch or 10, but usually 12 inch. You don't confuse the 12 inch with 12 inch for the woofer on the FR system. Usually I suggest you to avoid the 12 inch for FR system. Otherwise the sound is too much, maybe you say rumble, too much bass, okay, especially when you put the speaker on the floor. This speaker uses the 10 inch with the drive inside, so you can have a completely FR system, but the sounds is very close to the cabinet guitar. It's smaller and lighter. Okay. Usually I have this one as a backline, and I use also the in-ear monitor. Only one in-ear, and I have the other ear free to listen the ambient and also the cabinet. And also it's really important the cabinet to have the interaction with the guitar, to have the feedback, to make the Larsen, the feedback like the real amp. This, for me, this is really important. As I told you on the beginning of this live stream, it's really important to me to use the FR system. I don't use anymore the amp. First, because it is heavy. It makes no sense to use the amp and digital model, for my opinion, but okay, you can use, of course. Many people use digital model only as a multi-FX in 4 chaebol modes. You can, of course, you can do this, of course. But if you want to use and to get all the most advantage of the digital model or profiler, I suggest you to use the FR. Don't use only the in-ear monitor, because you lose the interaction between the guitar and the cabinet. It's really important. Of course, if you play like Joe Satriani or Steve Lukather, you know the feedback is only possible when you have a physical cabinet that can make the interaction. Okay. Also, the sound from the Axel, but it sounds different emo than the Kemper. The Kemper is more real amp-like. Okay. It is a matter of taste. I can say this, dear Ocean, Kemper is an empty box. Okay, you have to put something inside. Okay, that is my profile, for example. The quality of the Kemper depends on the quality of the profile. If the profile is good, it sounds good. If the profile is bad, the sound is bad. Okay, and also you need to find the amp, because you have some you have to search the amp on the profile builder, the profile producer. If I want to have an amp in the Fractal or in a modeler, I can select the available amp. I don't need to search profiles on the web. Okay, it's a different approach. This is not a there is no best or worse. It's a matter absolutely of taste. If you want to make a profile, you can use a profiler. There are some advantages, there are some disadvantages, but I cannot compare profiler with modelers. So for me, it's difficult, because they are two completely different technology, completely different approach. For me, I prefer the approach of the modeler, okay, because I wanted to have the amp in my hand. With the Kemper, I have not the amp in my. I have amp because it's there. So if I want a different profile, I have to create a new profile. I can't do so much with Kemper side, because the settings of the Kemper here is the post settings, is not the real tone stack and so on. Okay, you can, of course, you can tweak, but it's not the same like in your amp. If I want to switch the voice of the amp, I have to create a different profile. So I hope this is clear. Marco, you are very, very pro. Thank you, Nico. So Marco, great advice and agree on the 10-inch advice. Unfortunately, brought 12 on the day are too bassy heavily. I am trying to move the modelers after years I use amp. Appreciate. Yes, and of course you have to take care about the FR, because every kind of FR system is FR. Why you have to spend $200 or $600, $700? Why you spent what is this? AirPods, $150. Why you have to spend so much dollars for the AirPod when you can find the same, practically the same at $30, $20? Why? You can recognize the quality of this one compared to the other one, and why you don't make the same comparison with the FR system is really important. Okay, I hope this is clear. And usually the problem of most of the FR system is the system that are made for small PA or DJ set, so they have a big woofer, 12-inch, and the drives, okay, and the middle, where is it? And the guitar, as I told you before, the guitar sounds between 200 hertz to 7,000 hertz. This is the range, the frequency range of the guitar, and usually that FR speaker has not really big pressure, big response on the mid range, and they are of course FR system, but are not good for the guitar, especially when you put that cabinets on the floor. The 12-inch woofer create a really rumble sound, lot of bass, is really difficult to drive. So I suggest you usually to use the 10-inch 10-inch drive. Ciao Fabio, top. Hello from Dolo, near Venice. Dolo is close here. THU is another very good system. Is a plugin system. Okay, I have one here. I can show you. Sorry, THU, the problem is setting the built-in microphone, so I created a disaster. Sorry for this. Okay, I have THU, believe me. I have to change the settings. Sorry. Okay. Hello Marco, Sambot. Let me check your question. Buonasera Rosario. Wolverine, congrats. Luke, I'm tempted by the XOTA. You got the Kemper profile stage, but I might wait for a neural DSP, neural quadcopter, or Thomas Blug amp. Okay. You, Wolverine, you put on the table several different system, and I hope that you make the good choice. So you have, I hope that my tips help you to find the right system for you. As I told you before, it's impossible to create a list of your needs, budget, genre, and what you need, what your skill with this system, because for some people some systems are too much difficult. Is to be honest, every system is difficult if you don't read the manual. This is absolutely clear. I know some people it's difficult also to search in the web, to read the manual, to look in the tutorial and so on. Okay, so please don't forget to read the manual. Okay, I mark what Giovanni. I mark what if I'm into the like gent stuff, and as far as I know, in this genre the most used caps are mesas. Do you think that for that sound using a modeler with the power amp and the cabinet doesn't matter? Mesa is a cabinet, of course. In the gent, you can use the simulation of the mesa. Doesn't matter which system or modeler or profile you want. Of course, you have to be oriented to the mesa sounds. So you will select a mesa amp with the mesa cab, simulated cab. Ok? Siamo solo in inglese? Yes, Alessio, siamo solo in inglese because you can find a long Italian live stream in my YouTube channel just before this video, so you can follow that. This session is in English, as you can see from the title. I purchased THU 2 weeks ago and I'm loving it. Yes, THU is a really good system, of course. Okay, I try to, let me check, I try to switch on again without make a disaster like before. Just a moment that I want to, sorry. So I'm speaking about THU. THU is a plugin, a very powerful plugin. One of the most important features of THU is the possibility to make a modeler. Okay, using modular system like this, for example. Okay, when you can create your rig, selecting different amp cabinets to put any kinds of overdrive effects, just simply drag and drop the if effects on the desk. It's very easy. Okay, you have reverb, delay, any kind of typical effects. It's very easy to use, but also very important features of this system is a possibility to create the rig library. A rig library is a capturing system that can permit to grab and capture the sound of the real amp. Okay, use the rig player like this. Okay, and this is the sound of an amp that I create. Is one of my rig library. Then the quality is really good, really good. And also it's easy. You can use an audio interface and use the output audio interface in a FR system, and also you can use it as a live system. Okay. Let me check. Let me check your questions. Mark, what microphone do you suggest in THU rig for lead guitar sound? Microphone, you mean microphone in the cabinets? I don't know. Depends of the cabinet. Usually, I use my rig. As you can understand, the rig library is made, as you can see, is made by the amp and cabinet and microphone. Okay, or I use the impulse response. As I told you before, you try to use the microphone that you are used to be used in the real world, so SM57 or Sennheiser or what you want. It depends of the sound you want. It depends of the amp, the cabinet. It is a combination that you have to try and try. Do you use also DI box with guitar input? No, it's not necessary. You have to take care about the audio interface. The audio interface has to be the instrument input, not line input, because otherwise the quality of the sound is really bad. You have to take care to select, but now every kind of audio interface has a possibility to use the instrument or line input, but you have to use it and select the proper input. Don't forget this, otherwise the sound is really bad. It's a plastic sound. Which kind of headphone do you use to make your sounds semi-open backup? I have this headphone, Beyerdynamic DT770 Pro. I like so much, but usually I use most of the time I use my monitor. Monitor is made by Red Sound Studio Monitor Studio 8. Okay. Oh, let me check. There are a lot of questions. So I don't want to forget some questions. I know it's. Let me check. Nick, have you tried the stream on Iridium as yet? I read someone that could be a full-on version coming in the future with FX. Could be interesting. I tried the Iridium at an M. Very nice. But okay, I can try and test only a few sounds, so I have to have one system to check all the possibilities. But the quality is really, and what I listen from the web is very good. To be honest, I prefer a complete system, okay, with effects and so on and so on. But this system and this gear is really good. Okay, sorry for the voice. I forgot to switch on. Okay. Have you tried the stream on? Okay. Can't hear another. Blah, blah, blah. No, I don't understand this. There is no. Sorry. Did he cover Helix already? No, okay. I didn't speak so much about Helix. If you have some question about Helix, I'm here. It was my first system. Is a, let's say is a medium system, medium quality. It's really flexible in terms of routing, IOs. It's really good for the 4 cable system, because you have a lot of loops inside inputs. You have the relay switch, I mean the floor unit. The LT version is not so flexible for the four cable system. Okay, no, it's out of content now, because you were explaining something else. But to be curious to hear you to chat about Helix, Kemper, and Fractal. I already spoke about Kemper and Fractal. Generally, I don't want to make a discussion of I wanted to pass you the difference between the system, because my discussion is a general discussion to help you to choose the proper system. So I repeat again, usually in the systems the ratio between the quality and the price is the same. So you have the same ratio on Ampero, $400, and Fractal, $2,000 and more dollars. You spend more, you have more. You spend less, you have less. Okay? So, but the ratio between the quality is the same. This doesn't mean that, okay, Ampero is bad and Fractal is the top. You can play, you can get very good sound with Ampero and Fractal, especially if you are expert and if you read the manual and if you go deeply in your system. Otherwise, Ampero can sound better than Fractal if you don't read the manual of Fractal. So it's not easy. The choice depends of your budget and of your needs. So if your needs are good for Ampero features, why spend so much? Makes no sense. If you want to have the best solution, okay, if you can go with Fractal or you can go with Kemper, but you have to be prepared to use that system. Sometimes I make some this comparison. Some entry-level system are like the scooter. Easy to drive. You mount it and you switch on the scooter and you go. Fractal or IS system is like like an airplane. So it's really complex to understand, but you can make the turn around the world. So not all people needs to make around the world. Many people has to go in the city, so the scooter is good. So what I can say is, as I told you, the ratio is, for me, in most of the cases are the same. If you spend more, you have more. If you spend less, is well. But okay. A lot of people go from a Kemper to Axe and vice versa. I say the bots units sound awesome to me. As the comparison between Axe FX and Kemper is, let's say, how can I say? Let me think. The final result is the same, because both let you to play guitar, okay, and the quality is really good. Kemper is an empty box because has no amp inside. You have to make your profile. The quality of Kemper depends on the quality of your profile. If the profile is good, Kemper sounds good. If profile is bad, Kemper sounds bad. And you don't find the profile inside. You have to get the profile in the web. Okay, and this is a very good advantage. The model is different. The model has the amp inside the operating system. When you want the Marshall GCM 800, you have it. In the Kemper, you have to find the GCM 800. But which one? which profile, who made the profile, which cabinet, which microphone. You know, you can find thousands and thousands of different profiles of the same amp, and all sounds are completely different. When people say Kemper sounds better, but Kemper, which profile sounds better? Please, which profile? Because there are so many profiles in the world of the same amps that is really impossible to understand. I make a blind test on my YouTube channel, okay, where I select for Kemper a profile of Bogner amp. I own a Bogner amplifier for 20 years, made by one builder. The sound is really bad, and all the people says, that could be not a Kemper. This is the really good demonstration that if the profile is bad, Kemper sounds bad. And the opposite, if you are not able to have the proper skill to set the fractal, you cannot get the right sound. So the sound is not in fractal in the Kemper, is in your brain, in your hands, and your playing. Of course, as usual, nothing different from like the analog system, of course. But okay, there are people that prefer the profile. The profiler is easy because you buy the profile, you upload, and the sound is the same. With the modeler, it's different. You have to create your sound. You can start from the factory preset. The factory preset of the Fractal are really, really good, and you can use them immediately. Okay, but if you want to set, you have to know what is the meaning of the effects of the tones, the stack, the cabinet, use the IR and so on. Okay, some people prefer to buy the profile, put on the Kemper, and that's it. It's much more easier. But even you put a photo in the Kemper. If you want to, for example, have a GCM 800 with a different cabinet, you have to make a different profile, or you have to search in the web a different profile. So there is not this is worse, the other one is better, and vice versa. It's different approach of the system. Okay. Thing is, let me check. The fact is that Fractal produces sounds great out of the box without tweaking thing, I think, any knobs at all. Other systems like Helix need more time to spend. Yes, this is true, Davide. Helix, for example, is a very good system, but it's easy to use, but it's not easy to get the good sounds immediately. You have to tweak a lot. You have to find the correct match between the amp and the IR, and sometimes it's really difficult. The factory preset of Helix doesn't help, unfortunately. You have a lot of factory presets, but they are not good. Of course, my presets are good, so if you want, you can buy my presets. Because I am very famous for this. Thanks for Helix that let me to sell a lot of presets and become famous for this, of course. But of course, using the modeler in general is it's a little bit difficult than the profile, because as I told you, profile, you buy the profile, you put on there, and you can list the profile. You can scan the list. If you find something good, okay, this is profile for me, and that's it. It's easy. You don't need to tweak so much in the Kemper profiles. In Helix, the factory preset doesn't help, but you can find, of course, my patch, but also other patch provider. Of course, with Fractal, we have 2000 presets, very, very good. Of course, if you want to change, you can go inside the very good editor, and you have a typical interface of the amp with the drive input, bass, middle, treble, presence, and so on, like your amp. It's not so difficult, but you have to understand how it works. And usually I discovered that many people are difficult to understand because they don't understand also the analog system. They don't understand why the drive has to be before the amp or the delay has to be after the amp and so on. The rules are absolutely the same. This is important. Ok. Ciao Marco, it is this question regarding THU. I suggest you to use THU with the impulse response, or try the rig library. Go into my YouTube channel and you have some sample of my THU preset and rig library, and try to understand if the sounds is good for you. Okay, I have been using Headrush for 2 years and I still love it. I use live and the studio and it works. Headrush, for example, is a really easy system because it has a big touch screen, very intuitive system. There are some limitations. It has not so many amps, not so many effects, but the quality is pretty good, of course, and is a good solution. Headrush and Helix are, let's say, in the same level. It's a matter of taste if one or that. Let's say Helix is more versatile in terms of routing, in terms of input outputs, loops, and so on. Headrush is easier to use, let's say, much more easier to use. This is absolutely true. What is talking about the good? You can add a new and different rigs at very reasonable price. Yes. There's many professionals who own both Helix and Kemper say that if you really know what your stuff, you can obtain the same high quality result. So it's deceptive to say that better than other. Exactly, Maisha, the concept is the same. If you know your system, you can get the good sound for every system. You can search in my YouTube channel. There are 500 videos of every system. Some sounds are not good, some sounds are good, but I can say that every system you can get the good sound. And the choice depends from many factors, not only of the quality matched by genre, budget, your skills to use some system, and your personal experience. It's very good if you have a friend that have a Kemper or have a Fractal and let you to try to be confident with the ambient, because this is really important. Homegrown, thank you for covering this in English. I watch lots of your videos and try to understand what you are doing. Thank you very much. My English is poor. Sorry for this. I made a lot of mistakes. I hope that you understand me. Sorry. I also, what is the time? 11:30. I'm a little bit tired, but I hope to cover all argue with my poor English. Thank you very much. For you, Headrush and Helix are the same quality level. I really like the friendly use of Headrush. Yes, are in the same range. It's a matter of taste. The quality is pretty. Some people prefer Headrush, some people prefer Helix. Okay. Let's say Headrush has a really user-friendly interface for sure because of the touch. But Helix is the only is really versatile. Is really flexible, but you need to understand very well how to tweak the parameters to get the good sound. It's not easy. You have to match the proper impulse response. Okay. Which one the best sounds? Stainless steel. Every system has the best sounds compared to the price, compared to the features. Many people ask me, if you ask me what is the system I use, is on stage I use Fractal, because with Fractal it is in my system I can find everything I need, and because I prefer the modeler. Okay, I have also Kemper here. I like Kemper to make the profiles of my amps, even if I can do the same with the tone match on the Fractal. But for example, because I like so much the ambient effects, as you can see in the editor here, you can find this routing is not possible with Kemper, for example. This is the routing of the Kemper is linear, okay, and the routing of AXFX3 is this. With the Kemper, you cannot get this. Simply, it's a matter of my needs are this, and many people never use rigs like this. For example, I like to have a GAMP in my hand. I like to select the impulse response. But this doesn't matter because in any case, the quality of the sound depends on you, not only of the system. Because I think with Ampero, I get so very nice sound, very good sound, even if I have a $400,000 system. But depends of the man who tweak on the system. So my main suggestion is to dig your system, to go in deep of the manual, to understand very well what you need and what will you do. I understand you perfectly. Thank you very much. I'm English, and your English is better than mine. Keep up the. I say usually it's a joke, but usually I like so much the English people because they are so kind with me, and I usually say my English is for sure is better than your Italian. So okay, but the important thing is what I say. Thank you very much. Did you say not to use modulus only with the in-ear monitor? Is better to also use a far cabinet to get some feedback, or is it okay to only use with the in-ear monitor for live? But you can use an in-ear monitor for sure. If you use clean sounds, let's say you can use an in-ear monitor. Many guitar players don't use anything on the stage. If you go to see some gigs from the last famous singers and so on, the stage are not anymore the music stage. It is let's say it is a show. There is a lot big displays. There is a film. There is effects, lights, smokes, and so on. So it's not anymore the AC/DC stage. Is the music stage with a lot of walls of amp, of Marshall amp, but that comes from the past. Now the stage are a show stage, and let's say is a circus. So on the stage, only the musicians, the drums, usually drums close into the plexiglass cover, and this is the reason that the digital system becomes very famous, because with the digital system the sound is ready to use with on the PA. You can put the digital system everywhere in the stage, and you use only the in-ear monitor. In that case, the problem is you have no feedback from the guitar. This is true. Please check the video from Pete Horn about the Red Sound RSMF10 cabinet, the cabinet I showed you before, and he shows very well what is the possibility to the interaction between the guitar and the cabinet. So that is very important. If you want to have that effect, like Satriani, like Steve Lukather, and so on. Which on the okay, understand blah, 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 blah. Sorry, I read your question. Did you say not? Okay. Brazil. Obrigado from Brazil. Vinicius Adrade. Maisha Seibona. Maisha. Where do you come from, Maisha? Do you go straight to PA or use a power amp and a real cab when you perform live? No, I go directly from the PA. And as I told you, I use only my FR system. I don't use anymore the amp since a long time. Okay, in the stage, in the near morning, listen only the guitar, or even more. I have on the stage I use only one in ear, and it is the complete monitor of the band, so I can hear everything like the monitor, the physical monitor. The right here is free, and I listen my guitar from the. I show you again. This is my FRF system. It is developed by Red Sound. The name is RSMF10. MF. Okay, now it's clear why I love these FR cabinets, because I developed by myself, and I with the help of Red Sound, and so it sounds like I want. This is really important. So with this cabinet, I have the proper interaction between the guitar and cabinet, so I can get the same feedback loss and so on. Check my videos, you will find some sample of this where I can get the same feedback like the real amp in the same way. Okay, I would like to request that you produce a John Petrucci Dream Theater rig in THU. Please and thank you, Marco. What you're doing is great. Keep it on. Okay. Sometimes to reproduce some sounds is not really easy. I can show, for example, the John Petrucci sound that I produce with the Fractal. I have the MFGP, if I remember. Here, this is the John Petrucci. Why I can do this? Because I have the USA JP, the same model of Petrucci sound. So this is now it's easy. I select the proper cabinets and the effect. So I can do this with Fractal. I need the same modeler, the same amp model in the other system. Otherwise, it's really difficult to reproduce the same sound. Okay. Yes, it would be great to listen some Petrucci sound with THU. Okay. When THU will be available, maybe in the rig library, because if I have a possibility to get a John Petrucci Mesa signature head, we can try to make the rig library, but it is not easy to find. This is the problem. Okay. Oh, we almost reached 2 hours of live stream, and we are still a lot of people here again. Let me check the other questions, because I skipped some. Okay, I can play something, and I want to show you and want to discuss with you again about how to create a rig. For example, I use the Fractal editor because they're really complete and really easy to show. Let me select this preset from mine. Okay, this is the rig. The input is here. Usually I put the compressor, the volume. I like to use this is the volume linked to the, I show you bigger, the volume linked to the pedal, as you can see. Y is used alternatively with the volume pedal. Phaser, the drive, I have double amp because I have the clean and the distorted amp, but you can use also only one amp because you have 4 channels for any amp block. You have the cabinets, the enhance to create much more stereo image. I have a second volume block, is only to make a boost level for the lead sound. Usually I tweak to 2.7, 2.8 dB. It's only to increase the volume, nothing else. And I put the ambient effects in parallel with this method. Okay, there is the chorus. Chorus is a 4 analog voice chorus. Okay, with the 50% of mix. The delay, 2 delay, different delay with different settings, and the plexi delay. Plexi delays I can show you what is the effects. So what very nice I love so much from Fractal is the possibility to link the block in this way. It's a really exclusive functionality of Fractal, and you can create a amazing sound. And the last block is the reverb. Okay, I can show you how it sounds. I switch off the microphone, otherwise I forgot to plug in the cables because I used the Kemper. Okay. There is a problem of the audio routing. Maybe you don't hear nothing. Why? I don't know why. Sorry. Maybe it's a problem of the OBS software. There is something wrong on the plugin. Let me check on the sound settings. No, it seems no. Unfortunately, there is a when I change from this is the incompatibility between Kemper and Fractal. Then the audio system switch off. No, it doesn't work. I can see it work, but no sounds. I think you can listen only the sounds from the microphone, but not directly from the cause. Okay, but it doesn't matter. You can listen a lot of sounds on my video on my YouTube channel, but the session is only to explain you and to give you some hints. Okay, how much does the MF10 cost? The MF cost is about $600–700. It's not so expensive considering the 200 watt with 10-inch coaxial drive speaker. It's considering the quality, it is really competitive. In THU you can use Mesa Mark 4 with amp to reproduce Petrucci main sound link. Okay, maybe yes, I will try. I am not a Petrucci expert. Okay. Hello, I'm a new camera and owned recently Helix LT and find it amazing sound. With my headphone sound, should you notice anything about cab to purchase for stage power cab? Okay, as I show you, if you go back into the live stream, I show you my signature cabinets I developed with the red sound. You can find also different system. I suggest you, if you don't want to buy, I suggest you to spend some money for the FR system. I tried the power cab and I don't like so much. As for me, my suggestion is to spend some money for a very good monitor system. Some money means more than $700-800, not less, not less. Otherwise, the quality from stage is not so. The sound pressure is not so good, and the linearity of the sound is not perfect. It's good for DJ set, for typical mainstream, but for the guitar, I suggest you to spend more than $700. Okay, we reached 2 hours and 3 minutes. The time is over. Okay, it's midnight in Italy. So thank you very much for your attention. If you have other questions, you can put the question below the videos. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, of course. Don't forget to click on the bell to receive the notification when I am online or I put some new videos. And okay, you can find also my website, www.marcofanton.it. You can reach me on Facebook, please, my official page, because my private profile is full. Okay, I hope that I touch some Argus, not all, but okay, I'm available. Maybe we can, if you like this live stream, we can replicate again in the future. Thank you very much from Marco Fanton from Padova, Italy. Now we have some problems with the coronavirus, but I think that we overpassed this problem. It's not so. There is a lot of noise for nothing. So thank you very much. I'm good. My health is very good. Yeah. So thank you very much for your attention. From Marco Fanton is all. See you soon. Thank you very much. Bye.